Chief of Protocol, come here. Thank you, sir. That's
Mais non, il y a encore demain, il y a Jai.
Il y a une Jai demain?
Demain, il y a Jai et vendredi, environnement.
Ouais, l'environnement, ça va
Oh
parce que
là,
là,
oh là.
on va voir l'ordre du jour. Hein, parce que...
Now it's fine.
Managing Director for Africa.
Member of Cabinet.
Thank you.
Heike Schneider from the Kenya.
Thank Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have had very productive discussions with His Excellency President Van Rompuy on a wide range of issues concerning our country and the European Union. I also took the opportunity to congratulate His Excellency on his re-election as the President of the European Council. It is a tremendous show of confidence in him to be re-elected at a time when Europe is experiencing significant economic challenges. Despite the significant challenges, Europe has not lost focus on the critical global issues, key among them the threat posed by the climate change and also international terrorism. This is a very critical area for us in Africa, and we want to encourage the leadership of Europe to maintain this focus. I was able to brief His Excellency on some issues which are of concern to us. One is the issue of economic partnership agreements, which are under negotiations currently. Whereas Kenya has no difficulties in finally signing these agreements, our view is that an agreement should be signed until all the outstanding issues have been negotiated and agreed upon. That Kenya, being the only country on the East African seaboard which is not an LDC, run the risk of being grossly disadvantaged if agreement is imposed on Kenya to the exclusion of other member countries of the East African community. We discussed also the issue of drought and famine in the East African coast, that is the Horn of Africa. We did discuss this matter at a meeting in Nairobi last year, and we came up with the Nairobi Declaration, which was approved at a summit in New York. And there's going to be a follow-up meeting later on in the month in Nairobi. During our meeting, I also briefed His Excellency on the significant political developments in Africa, particularly the democratic transition that is emerging all across the continent. I have assured Mr. President that despite daunting challenges, Africa's march to democracy is irreversible and unstoppable. Various countries are at various stages of transition. This year alone, up to 20 countries will hold competitive elections. Kenya itself is also to hold the watershed elections, and I've assured His Excellency that the elections will be free, fair, and democratic as a result of the new democratic constitution which was promulgated more than 1 year ago. The Parliament is now in the process of passing laws aimed at implementing various aspects of that constitution. We, of course, also discussed Somalia and have briefed His Excellency on the development there and the position that our country takes. We have made a specific request to the EU with regard to the role of the Atlanta fleet, which will be considered. There is the light at the end of the tunnel in as far as this long-standing issue of Somalia is concerned. And we urge the international community to stay focused on this matter. Finally, our relationship with the EU has been strong and has continued to remain strong. We see ourselves as partners in development for the benefits, mutual benefit of the peoples of these two continents. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's very good relations with Kenya, and we cooperate closely in many areas. Today we discuss the situation in Somalia and the fight against piracy. Kenya is an important partner for the EU in fostering peace, stability, and development in the Horn of Africa. I welcome that Kenya has agreed to integrate its forces in Somalia into the African Union mission in Somalia. The EU will continue to support AMISON with an additional €100 million until 2030. And it is my hope that by combining our efforts, we can contribute to greater security in Somalia and to restore peace and stability in this country. We also discussed ways to strengthen cooperation in the fight against piracy. And last week, the EU decided to extend the EU Naval Force Operation Atalanta for 2 years until December 2014. We will continue to seek transfer agreements with countries in the region to ensure that suspected pirates are brought to justice. Moreover, the EU is going to deploy a civilian crisis management mission to strengthen maritime capacity in the Horn of Africa and Western Indian Ocean region. Domestically, the most important issue in Kenya are the upcoming elections, which shall take place this year or early next year. The European Union supports the preparations of the elections and continues to follow progress closely. We very much hope that the Kenyan elections will be free, fair and peaceful. The European Union would be pleased to dispatch an electoral observation mission should the government of Kenya invite us to do so. And finally, I expressed strong support and encouragement to continue reforms in areas such as the judiciary and the fight against corruption, which will contribute to peace and stability and will have a positive bearing on economic and social developments of the country.
also briefed His Excellency on the significant political developments in Africa, transition that is emerging all across the continent. I have assured Mr. President that despite